the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast after show. So we thought we'd come in and have a little bit more. We always have the deep, you know, the awesome conversation is always after the show where we catch up on what happened in the week and what we plan for next week, the future badass of the whatever. So last week, I don't know if you guys noticed, we didn't have an episode. And I know it upsets people. I usually get a lot of hate mail. Maybe people stopped listening because I didn't get any hate mail this time. So I don't know. Maybe nobody's even downloading it. You know, who really knows? But what happened is last week, Kevin was away and I ended up going out of town myself. There's something called, there's a gun store online called Palmetto State Armory. And Palmetto has an event once a year called The Gathering. And The Gathering is basically they take all the vendors and the people who sell new stuff and they have them come out. And what's cool about this as opposed to other gun shows is they actually have like live fire stuff where you're shooting it. Like they're like, oh, come on up and shoot. You know, you want to burn ammo like an idiot? Dude, we shot full auto. We used thermal scopes. We used, you know, all the new, you know, all the Trijicon scopes that I can never afford. And nobody I know can afford them. So I couldn't even see what they were like. I got to get in and check that out, which is amazing. Now I'm seeing that I ruined it for people that we didn't have the podcast. I'm getting comments on the side here. But that's the thing. So we checked out all these things. Well, the cool thing is because of the Survival and Basic Badass podcast, we got free tickets. So I took a buddy of mine and we went down there and it was actually like 5 hours away. It was a little bit of a drive. And we went down and no joke, dude. They had 17 gun ranges. Each range had about 8 people shooting the entire time. All you hear is just gunfire. Because you imagine, you know, everybody's got somebody shooting at a time, and then 17 ranges. People are shooting full auto. People are shooting skeet somewhere else. It was unbelievable. And basically, I mean, it depended on the vendor. A lot of people, it was typically like they'd give you like 5 bullets to check out a gun. And, you know, some of them were more generous and it'd give you, you know, 15 or whatever, you know, different things. Check out their new triggers, their new whatever. One of you guys had actually asked about the Palmetto dagger. They make a dagger micro. And if, you know, whatever. So I hit him up. I was like, hey, I see this micro dagger. Every time I look at it, it says out of stock. When is it coming? My people want to know. And they were like, yeah, soon. And I'm like, yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Right.
And, you know, that's the kind of crap that you get. But I got to say, it was a great time. There was a lot of great people there. And I feel like all the other gun people I know are like a little introvert, you know, kind of here. I'm sharing my business with the world, but you know, nobody really wants to be around people. So it's a little, you know, awkward. Yeah, exactly. Soon in September, but yeah, it's not, who knows? Dude, I asked 3 different people at the gun show about that micro dagger. And I'm like, yeah, but can I try? Well, no, we don't even have one here. And I'm like, dude, this is the event where you're showcasing all your new stuff.
Yeah. I was ordering something recently. Well, it's been 2 months out for about 6 months now. So I mean, that's just how those things go sometimes.
That you're waiting on your Dodge Ram, right? That's coming, you know, yeah, it'll be in. Just keep making payments. Don't even worry about it.
Right.
Yeah, or they don't mind taking your deposit money, you know?
Right.
That was, I looked at getting, I know the wife would shoot me if I did it, but I looked at the new Dark Horse Mustang, right? And it was going to be like 72 grand, right? Not cheap. But you know what really irritated me was they were like, oh, it's going to have this awesome sound system. But if things don't work out and we can't get the microchips, we're going to have to get rid of the amplifier for the sound system, but we're going to give you $100 off if that happens at our discretion.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, that just sounds like crap. And so anyway, but back to the gathering. So we go out, like I said, I'd never looked through the ACOG from Trigicon, and they had a bunch there and all the different ones. And I realized like the site picture was way smaller than I'm really looking for. And they had like better ones that were also from Trigicon that were like a different version of the same that had a wider site picture. But of course, instead of being $9.99, which is way out of my budget, they were like $13 to $16.99, depending on, whether it was battery powered or not. So I was like, yeah, but at least I know, it's better than saving up and spending the money and whatever. A lot of new stuff. There was a lot of companies, but like it was hard because you want to check out, there were a bunch of suppressor companies and you want to try out the new suppressors. But when you go and you take off your hearing protection, everybody's blasting stuff, around you. It was kind of hard to isolate and see what's really what. It kind of was a lot to take in. That's, I guess, the bottom line of that. But it's still an amazing time. And I actually wanted to do like an episode where I talk about, going out to events like that and hanging out with other guys who love the same stuff as you and getting to know each other and connecting and finding stuff. That really is a big thing that I think, being kind of the lone wolf guy that a lot of preppers are, kind of networking and making that community is a nice thing. So anyway, I do want to say thanks to Palmetto for opening that up because that was awesome. And we did get to go for free and that was pretty cool. And I actually, because I drove down to South Carolina, I went to the Palmetto State Armory stores, and that was something that I'd never done and got to see, their stuff firsthand and check out their gear there. So that was pretty cool. And I may or may not have purchased some bullets while I was there. So, you got to keep the arsenal, the armory ready,
yeah,
right?
You got to keep things stocked, right?
That's right.
I mean, what's the point of owning a firearm if you never get to use it?
That sounds right. So what else you got going on this week, Kevin?
Well, this has been a big week in news. Obviously
Okay.
there's the Donnie indictment. Indictment. Sorry.
Right.
But the one that was really impressive to me was, did you see Lindsey Graham doing the interview recently on Fox?
I did not.
He was crying on live television because he was so like Glenn upset. Beck.
All right.
Yeah, just sobbing. I mean, really embarrassing. He could have been president. You know what I mean? He was a nominee a couple of times. But, I don't know, dude. You start crying on national television and
you're maybe not
the guy. You're out of the race. I mean, that happened to Hillary. Remember when she was crying? Yeah. And that was it. That's it. You're over.
Yeah, what was his name? The alien guy who was always crying all the time, like Beck.
The alien guy.
Oh yeah, the guy who always thought that the aliens were going to get us, and then the tinfoil babies, the gold foil babies, and the
Alex Jones. You're talking
Alex
about
Jones.
Yeah,
that guy.
He'd always get real angry and red faced, and then he would start crying.
He'd start bawling. He'd say, "I just can't." Maybe I feel like if we cried and had like big blubbery sobbing, you got to commit. Like not
right.
Like
you got to go all in.
You gotta be all in. I feel like
snot running down your face and everything.
We would double our audience.
All right. Well, I'll try that next episode. I'll try. I'll have to work it up though. I don't know that I can just cry on command. I'll have to think about dead puppies or something.
Yeah, and you gotta like really get into it where the tears are dripping down on your notebook paper and just you gotta commit. That's really the direction I think the podcast needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
But hey,
that and cooked boiled babies, or how are they eating the babies? Did they
I
ever
think they
talk
were
about this?
roasting them and they put it out. I always thought, like, that song, Hotel California, right?
Right,
And, they talk about they steal with their, stab it with their steely knives. And they
right.
talk about it kind of laid out. And there's kind of a video. And that's how I always imagined it. That it was
Mhm.
like a big feast table and they,
Right.
got it roasted, over the spit kind of thing. And they just
Right,
peel off
right.
the
Like a
gold
pig with an
foil.
apple in its mouth
Right.
is just a baby.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then you're all just kind of digging in, like that.
Yeah.
That's
I
how I
mean, that's how the
imagine it.
people in the Illuminati stay young. I mean, George
Right.
Soros is like 300 years old and he's still
Right.
around.
I mean, what was he was helping Hitler in the in World War II. I mean, this guy, he's been around. So,
Yeah.
but
Good old
anyway,
George
so
Soros.
a lot of
You know,
stuff.
I
Yeah.
don't I think that George Soros gets a bad rap. He could be the most evil man in the world,
Yeah.
and still he's depicted worse than that. You know what I mean? Every bad thing that ever happens, it was funded by George Soros, according to some certain news stations. Alex Jones, that was his thing. Everything was George Soros. This motherfucker. I saw a picture of him earlier today. I was looking at him, and he looks about
Yeah.
300 years old. You know?
Yeah, yeah, that's it. You see their skins like paper thin and they,
Uh,
yeah. Nah, he's an evil man, But what are you gonna do? So, I mean, that's the gist. I think we're gonna try and do some of these after shows. I hate to, we do both have projects and things going on in our lives. I'm trying to build a chicken coop, and Kevin's got things going on. We're all trying to, do different projects, so it's tough to fit it in. But I know you guys appreciate this kind of thing. I will try and give you in advance if the show's not going to happen. And that way, I don't mess up your morning and your work schedule. But, it's tough. Like we didn't know. I actually had planned on recording live at the gathering and I was going to try and do it there. And I did get some video. I'll try and put something together and throw it up on YouTube. But what ended up happening was it was raining Saturday morning. We had Friday all day and it was awesome. Saturday morning when it was podcast time, it was kind of rainy and whatever. And I had only brought like a fancier camera and I was like, I don't know that I really want it out in the rain. I got the new camera and the new setup
mm-hmm.
and I'm just going to be out there. And it just, I don't know that. And they actually they had us standing in the line waiting to like go in pouring rain. And I was like, I feel like you could open the door and let us go hit the tent, And I
Right.
just kind of was like in a sour attitude after that, and I was like, I'm kind of done with it. Like, forget the podcast, forget anything. I ain't doing jack. And so that was part of what happened. But I will say, we were able to shoot tons of stuff. And then part of that too, though, was I'm like, well, I have a range at home and I have suppressors and I have short barrel rifles and I have a good variation of handguns that I can shoot. And it kind of made it feel like, what are you really giving me here? My buddy's
Right.
like, you just have it too good. You're too spoiled. He's like,
He is too
whatever.
spoiled. You are.
Exactly. I'm a little bougie, so
Uh-huh.
that's how that goes sometimes. But no,
So is it worth going? That's the big question.
dude, the big question is, is it worth going all day, dude? I had a great time. If I could only do one day, I would say the earlier day.
The first
They
day is
did
the best
Friday,
day.
Saturday. Well, the
Mhm.
big thing was Friday is like a work day for people.
Right.
So there was like a third of the people there. I
Mhm.
think everybody was like, yeah, we're just going to go Saturday. And so there was a ton more shooting, plus all the free swag. We pretty much got it all on the first day.
Mhm.
And
Alright.
like by the end of the first day, they didn't have nothing left. And
Mhm.
so there were still
They got a
bullets
little
and lots of
trigger happy
shooting.
with that
But yeah, they're
T-shirt
giving
cannon,
out
huh?
yeah, exactly. So all the free gear, you were like, yeah, first day. But getting to talk to the guys and everything, I had to say it was amazing. It was worth the 4 or 5 hour trip. It was worth the $70. Dude, you definitely get to shoot $70 worth of ammo. And
Mhm.
honestly, if you took it more seriously and were like trying to shoot everything, you could burn through $200 or $300 worth of ammo. And if you're not like weren't able to like see all these different things, getting to see the new gear. Sig was there with all their new stuff. Loophole was there with all their new stuff. Trijicon, like I said, just Trijicon excited me because it was stuff that I hadn't been able to check out, in the past. A lot of the reflex sites, believe it or not, I have not been a big fan of Glocks, but I hadn't shot one in about 10 years. And I went through the Glock handguns and their setup, and it was freaking awesome. I had a great time with the Glocks, and they have some new triggers coming out on the Gen 5s, or for the new Gen 5s. I know Gen 5s have been out a little bit, but they were great with the Glock 19 and that kind of thing. But they had new stuff coming out that really, made me happy. And I was like, all right. And I had been working on a Glock build and had been putting it off. And that kind of pushed me over to get the slide and the lower parts kit and all that, put it together, and kind of nudged me in the right direction. I don't think, it's kind of cool to go out in front of a bunch of other guys and yeah, you're hitting every target and you're the cool guy. So that was kind of neat, to like, yeah, look at me. I was there with my buddy and we were both shooting Glocks at the same time. And they had 5, where you knock down the metal targets.
Right.
And I was able to shoot all 5 before he got one of them down. And he was kind of pissed at me because he's the army guy and whatever. And it just
making him look bad.
But that's because I have the home range and I'm freaking out shooting the handgun stuff. And I'm like, all right, I'm cool. And these weren't hard. These were 25 yards and they were like 6 or 7-inch metal plate targets. It wasn't like, oh, he's crack shot or anything. It wasn't like that, but it was just a good time to go kind of beat out your buddy because I was just quicker and maybe his gun jammed or something. I don't know. I just know that he left with like a little humiliation on his face. And that brought joy to mine.
And that's right. That makes everything worthwhile.
Right. And so we and then all through it, I was like, well, so who hit all the targets, on the way home? And, yeah. So that's kind of cool. I did, when we went to the stores, they had the Rhino safes. And I did get to check those out. And they kind of have that, I don't know if it's faux leather or real leather inside, but they're pretty freaking awesome. And, I look at the prices online and they were kind of ridiculous, but they had like a 64 gun safe in the store, which was huge. You could fit 3 or 4 of me in there. And it was like $3,200 and I think it was 900 pounds. I was like, man, I could use that at my house. And,
I don't think I have a place in my house where I can put something that weighed 900 pounds without collapsing.
The wife was like, well, we don't have $3,200 worth of stuff. And I was like,
exactly.
Yeah, that's right. And I know I wouldn't have $3,200 worth of stuff if I bought that. So that's kind of the problem. Something you might want to think about. But no, I'd say all in all, it was worth it. It was time. You're out with a lot of gun guys, getting to talk to the vendors and meet the people that, that make our world work, stay on top of stuff. And like I said, dude, a ton of shooting. It's way better than going to something like SHOT Show or whatever. Just because you're getting the hands on and you're really getting to throw the ammo, down range. So I would say definitely that would be a plus and something you might want to look into.
Yeah. All right. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So all's good in the world.
Yeah. Everything's good, man. Everything's good.
So
got a new pond I just dug in the backyard.
Oh yeah, you buried some old guns underneath just in case.
Just in case
New York gets a little rowdy. All right.
That's right. My missus was sending me pictures all week of these spring is here because she saw these little frogs popping up in the pond.
Yes.
And then she sent me a video of the ducks eating all the frogs. So they're gone, but spring's here.
Easy go, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's it. And we always fight for time, but it is nice to be able to enjoy some things every once in a while and go out and have a good time.
Yeah.
So that's what I got. All right. So with that, I would say stay safe and we will talk to you guys next week.